My father used to take the trip from Oakland to Sacramento twice every other weekend for about 8 years. Sometimes on my birthday or graduation or when I was sick, he would make the drive again. I was in charge of the CDs and he was in charge of the road. Sometimes I would look at the speedometer and tell him he's going faster than what's legally allowed. He would laugh and tell me it's okay to break the rules sometimes. I've never been the greatest at math, but if he made the 91.7-mile drive from Oakland to Sacramento and then back again every other weekend for 8 years, he drove over 76,294 miles. I don't even want to calculate if I include holidays. He was on the road for about 1,664 hours, or about 69 days, or 9 weeks. I don't know if I've ever been that dedicated to anything in my life.
I was born Jamel Timon Patterson in the delivery ward at Alta Bates Hospital in Berkeley, California, around 8 in the morning on June 27, 1977. From birth to when I reached my 9th birthday, I grew up in a quaint 3-bedroom apartment in Oakland, California, at 2040 87th Avenue, Apartment C, on the 2nd floor. I was the youngest of 4 children. My parents' continuous and voracious contentions toward each other were a social circumstance, which remained transparent against the backdrop of my playful imagination. I entertained myself for hours making paper airplanes, drawing robots, while eagerly cutting the outline to transform these pieces of paper into vehicles and aircraft. Most of my early childhood, I spent my days in a fearful haze, managing to successfully acquire a heightened level of worry that was far beyond irrational. My parents' indifference between each other became increasingly noticeable. Although they had the mind to keep the door closed during their screaming matches, the walls were razor thin. The friction amongst them was usually over a woman. My mother began screaming at my dad, so an argument ensued. I didn't know what I know now, but apparently my father was having an affair with a woman who was highly jealous of my mother. The woman intentionally vandalized my mom's new work vehicle by pouring acid all over the paint, ruining the finish down to the metal. Not too soon after this occurred, my father moved out of our apartment. I only saw him occasionally following the aftermath. Apparently my father was a ladies' man, sort of a womanizer. I don't know if there's an unfaithful gene or something. Somehow I would eventually follow in his footsteps. Even though I didn't have the greatest examples to support my maleness, I realize now, having a father present is very important for a child to develop normally. I didn't see my father as often as I would have liked, but he's always been a significant influence in my life. There was one person in my life that taught me the game, about life and women. I would eventually refer to him as Big Bro. He was about 10 years older than me. Big Bro was everything I ever wanted to be. He was super confident. He didn't take no shit. There was something about being around Big Bro that made me forget about the consequences. There was a certain level of influence Big Bro had over me. I never questioned his motives or intentions, even when he seemed a little paranoid or even harsh. One thing he really taught me was about having confidence in myself. He also taught me about how to talk to women, not necessarily by telling me, but by showing me. I was a beast. I was every woman's worst nightmare. I was charming, sincere, super nice, and totally manipulative. I had a good heart sometimes. I just did a lot of dumb shit. When I played the field, my ideal target was usually a woman who had issues with their dad during their childhood. Either being absent from her life, providing her with a less than desirable childhood, or he was an overbearing father. I recognize that women raised in fatherless homes who had an overbearing father or experienced an inadequate fatherly environment were more likely to seek some sort of validation from a man.
This was the very moment that altered our future forever. She replied in a composed, slow tone, "Give me my money." I firmly said no. She then raised her voice and added a little more speed. "Give me my money." I sternly said no. She then began grabbing at me, yelling at me, making an attempt to forcibly give her the money back. I angrily said no. She then began swinging on me while yelling at me to give her the money back. I just pushed her away from me. I told her to stop hitting me, but she wouldn't relent. She began throwing windmills at me, so I cocked my arm back and slapped her to the ground. I then screamed, "I didn't want to hit you, but you have crossed the line by trying to fight me. I'm not feeling well, you know what? I never thought I would ever hit a woman. You used to be my woman, but you ain't shit no more. Get the fuck out of my apartment." She said with desperation, "I'm taking our daughter. Let me take her daughter." With barely any presence of emotion, I said, "No, bitch, you homeless. She's staying here with me." I then said, "Get out." She began crying and ran to the bathroom. She called for a cab. When the cab driver arrived, I was so upset that I no longer felt sick. I was enraged. I kicked open the bathroom door, grabbed her by the hair, and dragged her, while she was kicking and screaming, from the bathroom through the living room, out the front door, onto the front porch, and locked the door behind me. She yelled through the door, "I need money for the cab." Void of empathy, I said, "Fuck you, bitch. Get the fuck off my porch, you no good ass bitch." That was the end of our relationship, April 11th, 2001, at 9:07 p.m. Yeah, I know, I was a complete asshole. It was a totally dysfunctional ending to what could have been a great love story, if only I had my shit together. Eventually I grew up, and I make much better decisions these days. I'm still a work in progress, but I will always be a work in progress, and I suggest that you do the same. I don't know if I really want to put this in the film. You know, he's done a lot of like really bad things. But he's still my dad, you know? Like, he's still my dad. I thought that I'd be able to tell you like a nice memory. But I think I'm losing all of it. Everything is tainted. So I don't think I want to put this in the film. He tainted everything. But I can't do it. I can't do it. Yeah, I can't do it. And what about your relationship with your father?
So my dad, Rodney, cool guy. I adored him. He unfortunately died when I was 11. He was a great guy, like goofy, good heart. He was a hero. So it was devastating to not have him in my life anymore. It would have been really amazing to have him in my life.
How do you think your life would have turned out differently if you had your father in your life? And also, we don't have to talk about this if you don't want to.
No, it's fine.
Okay.
I think what would have been different is knowing my self-worth. Because when you have your father in your life, I think you don't search for outside validation as much.
I think because I was 15 when I last saw him, now I'm not really angry anymore like I was when I was 15. I'm more just curious. I'm more just I want to know about who he is as a person, I think.
So you haven't seen your dad in 7 years?
And I haven't talked to him in 2 years. I think.
He hasn't called you or anything?
Mm-mm. No.
Hello, no one is available to take your call. Please leave a message after the tone.
Hey, Dad. I know it's been a while. I just wanted to tell you that I made a film about you. I don't think it'll go far or anything. It's not like I'm trash talking you. I just wanted to let you know. And I saw that you moved to Sacramento. That's really great. I'm at UC Berkeley now. I had to leave Howard because they didn't give me any money. You know how it is. And I'm majoring in film. Maybe I'll be a big director one day. Or maybe I'll work at McDonald's. Who knows? I read your book. I know you probably didn't want me to, but I don't know. I just feel like everything's kind of getting fuzzy. I think if I didn't have any pictures or that I looked just like you, I would forget what you looked like. Sometimes I think about you and I just wish you were here. Like when I graduated, or when I got sick, or when I learned how to drive, or when I moved out, or when I moved to college, or when Granny got sick, but you just weren't here. But, then I remember everything that you did. I didn't put it in the film. Don't worry. I didn't want to relive it either. I don't know why I called. I just wanted to see how you've been. And I was wondering if you think about me too. The number's the same. Call me.